Enjoy the following excerpt of Robert's presentation from the Success Symposium.
This was the basic thing that my rich dad showed me when I was about 9 years old. And very simply it says this is income, expense, asset, and liability. Now, this is where financial intelligence begins. Most people say their house is an asset, and it's not. It's a liability. If you can read a financial statement, you'll see it's a liability. So that's why Donald and I are rich, is we don't buy, we buy liabilities, but we don't call liabilities assets. I don't call my house an asset. My house is a liability. It's really quite simply the most important word, for those of you in business or finance know, the most important word is not income, expense, asset, liability. The most important word in the English language for the rich is a word called cash flow. You've got to know where the cash is flowing. So what a rich person is doing is controlling cash flow. So if money comes from an asset into your pocket, it's an asset. So very simply, when I was 9 years old, my rich dad said, assets put money in your pocket whether you work or not. Okay, repeat after me. Assets put money in your pocket whether you work or not. Okay? And very simply, liabilities take money from your pocket. Okay? So what does a liability do? It takes money from your pocket. Okay? The next thing here was this from my rich dad, was what is called the quadrant, and I think it's the most important book for people wanting to make changes. And the quadrant stands for employee, S stands for small business, specialist like a doctor, big business, and I stands for investor. So the other difference was my poor dad always said to me, and he said, son, go to school so you can get a job. So from the time most people are born, they're programmed to be employees, to work for the rich. And that's the difference. It was my mom, I used to fight with my dad. By the time I was in high school, I'd just fight with him saying, I don't want to be an employee. You know, I just don't want to do it. And I was flunking out of high school and all this stuff because I couldn't write, which is interesting. But so my mom finally intervened, and my mom was a registered nurse. And she says, Robert, stop arguing with your dad. If you want to be rich, go to school and become a doctor. I said, Mom, there's only one problem. She says, what's that? I says, doctors are smart. She says, you got a good point there. You don't. So early on in my life, I knew I wasn't going to survive here. It was obvious to me. So I've only had a job for 4 years, and that was with Xerox, and I went to Xerox for the skills, an entrepreneurial skill, learn how to sell. So on the other side of it, my rich dad says to me, he says, Robert, are you basically lazy? I said, yeah. And he says, are you incompetent? I said, yeah. And you're not very bright, are you? I said, no. He says, good, you'll do well in business here. So if you look at this side, my primary focus is to start businesses. I have a gold mining company in China, a silver mining company in Paraguay. I have a lot of real estate companies, oil and gas companies. I just start businesses. I like them. Once they're up and running, the cash flows in, I go do something else. So basically that has been my philosophy since 1974. And that's where we run. Now, on my book on financial IQ, it talks about this a lot here and this. And financial IQ is this, very simply. It is what you do to solve your problems. It's how smart are you at solving your problems. So now you look at it this way, for many people, when they have financial problems, they get a second job. That's an employee's mentality. I don't get a second job, I start a second business. There's a difference in the mindset of how a person handles a problem, okay? There's a reason for that. Another financial IQ is this. How do you protect your money? The biggest predator in the world is the U.S. government. They will take your money. The problem with making money in this quadrant here and this quadrant here is that these are the most highly taxed quadrants. Now, I'm not against paying taxes. I'm just not want to let them go without a fight somewhere along the line. So the problem with these guys here is they're taxed to at least about 50%. And over here, these are the doctors, lawyers, and accountants. They're taxed horribly. It's just terrible. The laws are horrible for these guys. Over here, I can pay 0% and 0%. The most important thing you can tell your friends is get off your butt and start your own business, even if it's at home. Even if it's on your dining room table. Kim and I, my wife, started Rich Dad, Poor Dad on our kitchen table and at a pizza parlor. We had a great time. But once you understand business, the moment you shift from here to here, the tax laws swing in your favor. The moment you tell a kid, go to school and get a job, you're punishing that kid for the rest of their life, including doctors, lawyers, and accountants. The tax laws are written on this side. So keep your daytime job, if you like your job, but start a part-time business. Get your spirit strong. Don't be afraid, I need job security. That's why you want to read Success Magazine. That's why you want to buy the tapes, is to get your chicken little spirit strong.